Let's move on. Here in a cartoon form is showing you pathogenesis of glomerular disease, and I'll show you two major issues. The first one that you're seeing here, let me set up this picture. This picture that you're seeing is the glomerulus. Next, what you're seeing there in blue, purple, that is going to be your podocyte. How can you confirm that? A podocyte should have foot processes. Do you see that box around that podocyte in that blue cell? We're going to take that section and we're going to blow it up over into your right. So now we've amplified it or blown it up, and that dark blue structure or that violet structure that we're seeing is a huge podocyte with a nucleus. And then we're seeing foot processes. Identify those first. Next, you see that orange line? It looks like paint, or if you take a brush, it looks like you painted with an orange brush. Well, that's your glomerular basement membrane, isn't it? So now what we do is, along with that orange line, which is your glomerular basement membrane, and the epithelial cell, well, you're either going to deposit some of these immunoglobulins either underneath the epithelial side, or you're going to deposit it where? Underneath the endothelial side. And what you're clearly seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, is immune complexes that are being deposited underneath the endothelial cell. Between the endothelial cell and the basement membrane on our first picture where it says circulating, you'll notice that that is a subendothelial deposit. First and foremost, would light microscopy show you this? No. Would electron microscopy show you this? Absolutely. And number three, immunofluorescence would then recognize this being what kind of pattern? Granular, granular, granular. Let us now move into the membrane a little bit. The one in the middle that you see there is you have immunoglobulins. And what do these immunoglobulins do? These immunoglobulins are literally only attacking the glomerular basement membrane. That's it. So we'll call this in situ. What's in situ mean? Membrane, doesn't it? So literally here, all you have is immunoglobulins that are attacking some antigen of my glomerular basement membrane. This is a type 2 hypersensitivity. This is anti-glomerular basement membrane disease. There are no complexes that are being formed and no deposits. So therefore, on, let's say, electron microscopy, maybe you find changes within the membrane. Great. But then here, immunofluorescence. Immunofluorescence will show you, you see that orange basement membrane, all completely containing immunoglobulins. So therefore, the entire basement membrane is going to be lit up, quote unquote. So this gives us our linear pattern. Then, moving over to the far right, there are two things that are occurring here. Take a look at the difference between the one in the middle and the one on the right. The one on the right, not only are you attacking the membrane, but where else are you depositing? You're depositing underneath, what's that blue cell that we called earlier? That is a visceral epithelial cell. That is a podocyte. And so therefore, the fact that you have involvement of the membrane and you have deposits underneath that epithelial cell, this is no doubt membranous glomerulonephritis. Membranous glomerulonephritis, involvement of the membrane, and what kind of hump or deposit? A subepithelial deposit. So therefore, electron microscopy will be relevant here, and then immunofluorescence would show you what? A granular pattern. Two of these pictures on immunofluorescence will then give you a granular pattern. Which two? The one on the left with subendothelial, the one on the right with subepithelial, and the one in the middle, immunofluorescence will be what pattern? Linear, linear, linear. Just to make sure we complete our discussion, if you take a look at the big picture on your left of the entire glomerulus, or a section of the glomerulus, the middle there that you're seeing in green is a mesangium. And then, just to make sure we're clear, that orange cell that we're seeing with subendothelial is an endothelial cell, and so therefore that would be your capillary lumen. Everything has been properly annotated here. Spend a little time. Make sure that you take a look at the text from the previous discussions. Arrive here, take a look at the picture, and let us now continue forward with more pathology. So, real quick, let me just have you highlight subepithelial deposit. Take a look at it. Underneath the epithelial cell, we have immune complexes. What would you then call this? Immunofluorescence. This would be granular. On the bottom, subendothelial. Underneath the endothelial cell, immune complexes, once again, granular. Everything else has been properly annotated here for you. These are circulating immunocomplexes. I'll give you an example now. Let's build on a little bit of foundation. Subepithelial, I'll give you PSGN. Which one? Post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis. Subepithelial, P and P. Subendothelial will be something like a SLE prototype known as DPGN, diffuse proliferative glomerulonephritis. How did I know that? Years and years and years of learning and practicing. You will get this down as well, in which at that point you might have to memorize a little bit. Here, strictly, what are you doing? The immunoglobulins are attacking the basement membrane only. Let me ask you something. Do you find any immune complexes here? No. So therefore, on immunofluorescence, what kind of pattern would you call this? Very good. Linear. Welcome to good pasture. Type 2 hypersensitivity. And then finally, our picture here is showing you not only involvement of the membrane, take a look, but then also, what kind of deposit would you call that underneath that epithelial cell? Obviously, a subepithelial. What would be my diagnosis here? Take a look. This is membranous glomerulonephritis. Further expanding upon the overview picture that we began with, and then further dissecting into each individual pathologies.